on Ireland. You declined an invitation to go to Farmley when various bigwigs of Irish descent around the world were to come and, as it were, have a talk in, think in, discuss in, etc. on what we might do. Why did you say no to that?
Well, actually, I didn't say no. Got an invitation, the usual embossed invitation to come to Farmley for a 2-3 day shindig hosted by Micheál Martin, at which all the great and the good would be there. And it was quite clear it was just a 2-day political photo shoot for a bunch of idiot politicians and hangers-on. I said, look, if you really want to get something done and you really want to make some changes in this country, I'll be very happy to go along for 4 hours any Tuesday morning you want. Let's do it get 20 people into a room.
Well, that's really what they were doing.
No, they weren't. They were taking 3 days over the weekend in Farmley. The gig was going to be, we'd have a meeting with the President on the Friday night. You'd get free tickets for the All-Ireland on the Sunday afternoon. They're not going to achieve anything. 200 people in a room, you're not going to get anything done. If you really want to get something done, get about 10 or 20 people into a room. Don't do it in the media spotlight, because then the politicians are pandering to, the photo calls. I said I'll go along 4 hours any Tuesday morning you want, wherever you want, as long as there's A, no media, B, there's none of the useless senior civil servants who be faffing on about social partnership and all the rest of it. No, we can't do that, Minister, we can't do the other. And I'll happily do it any way you like. But I'm not interested in going along and participating in some bloody photo bun shoot where we talk about, how wonderful Ireland is and all. Ireland is great. But it needs a bit of leadership at the moment, and you're not going to get it with a 3-day photo shoot, including All-Ireland tickets in Farmley.
Sitting across the table from me this morning is a man whom some regard as a hero that released us from imprisonment on an island, and others regard him as a big, bad person who is forever giving grief to governments and people and us and so on and so forth. His name is Michael OLeary. He's CEO of Ryanair, and you're very welcome indeed.
We had some feckless ditherer like Bertie here for the last 5 or 10 years, and people are looking around for someone to blame in this country. We should all blame ourselves. We elected Bertie Ahern 3 times unopposed, 3 times in a row, fine maybe the first or second time. After that, and it was quite clear all he was doing was pandering to the trade unions, buying off the vested interests, anything at all. We deserve exactly what we get in this country at the moment because we elected that feckless ditherer 3 times.
Have you met him up?
Out of this country, on any passenger here, it's 25 quid to get off this island. Our tourism industry has boomed for years on the back of very low cost access fares. Shannon, for example, where we've created a big base, the average fare paid by passengers to Ryanair in Shannon for 6 months of the winter last year was €8. Now, if you think we're going to continue...
But you see, when you say that to me, Michael, is that €8? Or is that €8 plus your charge?
It's €8. It's €8. That's it. That's everything. All
Credit
in.
card?
€8. It's all in. I mean, and what do they think is going to happen? As a result of that, we've announced now in April, we're going to reduce by 75% our capacity, our traffic in Shannon next year. There'll be tumbleweed blowing down the runway in Shannon. The difference between a government tax of €10 on a passenger and my charge for a bag of €5 or a credit card fee of €5 is you can avoid the bag charge. You can avoid the credit card charge.
I can't.
You can. If you pay by Visa Electron, it's free.
It's not available in Ireland.
Of course it's available in Ireland. It's available all over Europe. I have one. But you can get it on a UK bank. Actually, we're announcing next week we're changing it to a MasterCard prepaid, which is available in Ireland. But Ireland's a small market for us.
Prepaid, yeah.
So you can avoid those charges. We don't want the money from checked-in bags. We actually just don't want you to travel with a checked-in bag. We increased the carry-on bag limit to 10 kilos, and that's free. And if we can train everybody to travel with a carry-on bag, you can travel web check-in, carry-on bag, you can fly for the €2, the €3 fares, whatever it is. It's your choice. But when the government of this country comes along and the airport says it's 15 quid, and they want to go from £15 charge to £25 charge to pay for this white elephant T2 that we no longer need now because traffic is collapsing, the government slaps on another €10 tax.
Well, no, they haven't done that yet.
Devastating. Well, they're about to because this is where you come
the
back
minister,
the Minister for Transport, who should be representing consumers, orders the so-called independent aviation regulator on the 1st of January next year to put up the charges, the DAA charges, by 40%. So it's going to go from €15 next year to €20, and the following year the DAA wants to go to 25. There will be no visitors in this country. You compare that with what the Belgians, Dutch, the Spanish government are doing. This winter, for example, the Spanish government want Ryanair to grow by about 4 million passengers in Spain. And to do that, they've reduced all airport fees to zero. 100% reduction. We've opened up 45 new routes into the Canary Islands this winter. I mean, it's like the D-Day landings down there with Ryanair aircraft. European governments all over Europe recognise if you want to grow tourism quickly, do a deal with Ryanair. And the only government that doesn't recognise that is the cretins here in Ireland, where you have the largest international airline here in the doorstep. We have a commitment to growing traffic out of Ireland, and the government's only policy, run by a bunch of clowns in the Department of Transport, is, Minister, put up the airport fees by 40% and tax the few visitors we have left. Aer Lingus next year will reduce flights and traffic in and out of Ireland. Ryanair will reduce flights and traffic in and out of Ireland. CityJet will reduce flights and traffic in and out of Ireland until these clowns get the message. Ireland is an island.
I know, but there is a point, Michael, that you have to pay for building. Like, for example, Ryanair offered to build the second terminal.
Yep.
You said for free.
Yep. It cost us 200 million.
Yeah. How are you going to get the 200 million back?
I would move my passengers through it. And because I would pay... Look, Seamus Brennan, God be good to him, you know, when he went into tour transport about 5 years ago, said we'll break up the DA monopoly. Cork and Shannon will be separated out to go and do their own thing, which is what created the huge growth in Shannon with Ryanair in recent years. And we'll have a competing second terminal at Dublin Airport. Brilliant stroke, brilliant policy. That's the way forward. The government got 16 separate expressions of interest, one of them from Ryanair, that we would all build, people who wanted to build a second competing terminal at Dublin Airport. We would have built one bigger than the existing one for 200 million.
How?
What do you mean how? We would have just, it's our own
cost
money.
Cost per square foot is what I'm talking about, because I think that, what is the final bill for T2 going to be?
1.3 billion. Yeah. In fairness, the DA...
They say 600 million.
Yeah, but they lie, because they exclude all the ancillary buildings around it. But I mean, if you look at what they're said to the aviation regulator, it's 1.3 billion. That's what they've spent. So we offered, the government got 16 offers from people who would build this second terminal at no cost to the Irish taxpayer, and you'd have then competition between Dublin Airport and Terminal 2, whether it was owned by Ryanair or somebody else. And what would have happened with that competition? The DA's charges would have been forced down. They'd have had to get a bit more competitive, a bit like Aer Lingus is now. What happened? Bertie didn't want the unions upset. Seamus Brennan got shafted off the social welfare. Martin Cullen was put into transport. He announced a year later, sorry, we've decided we'll allow DAA to build the second terminal. The DAA announced on the day that the second terminal would cost between 170 million and 200 million in their press release. And now 5 years later, whoops, it's cost 1.3 billion and charges will have to go up.